Step in, lean in, mic on, and begin. Hey! Been quiet too long, chewed up tongue. Turn down songs, clock keeps ticking on the wall. But your name's still missing from the roll call. Let your voice be heard, say every single word. From the low notes to the sky, throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard, loud, clear, undeterred.
You got a light, buddy?
Yeah, sure, kid. There you go.
And your wallet.
Nick, give him your wallet.
If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got a truth tucked deep in your chest, heartbeat tapping out, saying
recording in progress.
Crowd might stare, let them do what they do. They never held a fire living in you. Let your voice be heard, say every single word. From the low notes to the sky, throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard, loud, clear, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you, yeah. Speak up, name your dream out loud. Stand up, you're the leader of this crowd. One spark, one shout, watch the silence melt. That power in your mouth is the truest thing you felt. Let your voice be heard, say every single word. From the low notes to the sky, throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard, loud, clear, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you.
Welcome. Yeah, James. Yeah, it's starting to be my favorite song right there, man. Especially when you here. Welcome to Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio. Again, my name is Cloyd Holmes. I am the host of Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio. Again, tonight, we have, I'm not even going to say a guest. We have an awesome family member that is here with us, and an awesome guest, an awesome person with an awesome story that we have heard. I think most of us here know who James is. For those who don't, I'm gonna give you a little brief synopsis. James is a chess master. James, yeah, James. that is a big thing, man. You know, who could say that? James is a chess master, and James is also the author of Chess for Dummies. Many of you have heard of that book. It's a bestseller. James is the author of the Chess Bible. James, how many chess books did you have?
I've written 6 chess books.
6 chess books, yes. Yeah. James has explained to us and given us his story that, of being a chess master, and how it took him also to addiction, alcoholism, played a part in that. It was, I guess, the chess played a part in alcoholism, or the alcoholism played a part in the chess, but it was all put together. It all worked hand in hand, so to speak. I think from me listening to your story, James, that you have overcome a lot of things using the chess theory, so to speak, to combat some of the alcoholism. I mean, using these things together, you've learned a lot from each one. Each one has taken you somewhere different in the other one. And I said that because you explained to us that you no longer have the desire, I don't want to say to play chess, but to win, to beat somebody. And so and I often wondered how can you play a competitive game or sport without the desire to win. And that was really deep the way you explained it. We're gonna get you to talk, to give us some more of that, because as Karen said last week, everybody needs some James in their life. So we are honored and blessed to James. This is I said this is your family, of course, and this is now every week here, and we're gonna incorporate this James week. James, we're gonna have one segment, just the James show. This is the James show. You need some James in your life, you'll be here at this time, and I'm sure that the panel will be full because of what you bring to the table. And you came with the story of addiction, the story of alcoholism, how that affected your life and where it took you, and how you overcame. And you took us to a spiritual level that I'm sure everyone on the line felt. Because I'm like, how can I feel this inner peace through this device, through this computer and this microphone? How can I feel this inner peace that I feel every time that you're on here and you're giving your story? So, with that being said, I gave a little bits and pieces of your story and what you gave us. At this time, wherever you want to go, brother, wherever you want to go, I'm going with you. So I'm going with you. So I want you to give us, take off wherever you want to, ladies and gentlemen. None other than, oh, wait a minute, before I go there, hold up, wait a minute, before I introduce James, I said about those 6 chess books, but from the addiction, from the recovery, the journey through recovery that he is still going through, because I think that we never end recovery because we always one decision from going back. So there's no way we could say, well, I'm cured. But through that, James has written 2 more books, one called Freedom. And I encourage each and every person on the slide to go to Amazon, I believe, and get that book. And another book that is really interesting to me and that I love is No Blame, No Shame. I can relate to that. I can really relate to that. And there's so much in the book and so much that we all can relate to. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to none other than our brother, James Eade.
Thank you so much, Clyde, for that wonderful introduction. And you hit on a couple of topics that I would like to talk about. First, I was a competitive chess player. And when I say competitive, I mean I was very, very competitive. My chess rating, which is your performance based against and play against other chess rated players, you think that rating is an extension of your value. And the higher my rating went, the better I felt about myself. So I was achievement oriented and I was looking outside for validation, because one of the subjects I want to talk about now is low self-esteem. And even when you kind of point to certain accomplishments, you can still have low self-esteem. And it's one of the things that we say in people. I've heard it before, and I repeat it myself now. You can be an egomaniac and still have low self-esteem. You can think only about yourself, but you can be. I often say, no one can be meaner to me than me, because my inner critic would always say, whatever I accomplished, I didn't do it fast enough. I didn't do it good enough. I could have done it better. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you have accomplished so much as how you can feel about yourself. And it comes from inside. This is what I have learned. It does not come from outside. But I didn't know that at the time. And I kept trying to achieve things that I could point to. And the first time I held one of my books in my hand, it was a very proud moment because I could see it. The other things I had done in my life were like optimizing computer speeds and things like that. That kind of thing wasn't tangible. I couldn't hold it in my hand. And but the book felt real. And I felt like that was a real accomplishment. But that feeling didn't last. And I was back to saying I could have done more. I could have done better, being very hard on myself. The inner self-critic was merciless. And so that was the kind of life that I had. My upbringing was, there was a great deal of criticism and compliments were rare. And so I felt comfortable being critical, and I did not feel comfortable being complimented. This is part of an addict waiting to happen, the upbringing that I had. Neither of my parents were alcoholics, but all four of their children were. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. They were doing the best they can with what they had, the tools that they had, which were not great. And they were experiencing what they had experienced when they were children. They were passing on what they had gone through to us, and without knowing any better. That's one of the premises of the book, No Blame, No Shame. There's no point in blaming others for the condition you find yourself in. It's of no benefit to you, and it will hold you back from finding your spiritual path to walk in life if you are going around blaming and others. And also, the no shame aspect of it is that I know what I did in the past, and if I can think about things that I have done, I can feel ashamed of them. But no, man, now I think about it. If it hadn't gone through what I have gone through and done what I have done, I wouldn't be able to speak with authentic power about how it can change, how you can recover. And when you think about it in those terms, you think, well, I was tested. I barely passed. I was closer to death than to life, but I was able to recover physically. I was able to recover emotionally, and I was able to recover spiritually. And the spiritual process is part of what I want to concentrate on in my message to others when I'm given the opportunity to speak, as Cloyd has given me the opportunity to speak today. It's more about that than I want to talk about my prior accomplishments or what I am doing, what I've done. Those types of things are not as materially important to me as they once were. They once were everything. Everything revolved around me getting some sort of acclamation, some sort of acknowledgement, some sort of praise. And I was so desperate for it. And I couldn't articulate it at the time. I wasn't conscious of this. So it had an uncontrolled, unconscious effect on my behavior well into adulthood. We were talking about what happened to me as a child, and it didn't stop in childhood. No. And with me, all of a sudden, when I started to experience, when I had that first experience, and we talked about, there was this, I think it must be awful. I can't remember the taste, but I think it must be a sweet wine, Strawberry Hill, Boone's Farm, Strawberry Hill. That was my first experience with alcohol. And I loved the effect that it had on me. I threw up, and I thought, well, I want to do this again. You would think, oh, you wouldn't want to touch the stuff again. But, I felt so different when I drank. I was not in the control of this lack of self-worth that left me. And everybody around me got funnier, brighter, prettier, and all of a sudden I liked to be around people. And if I wasn't drinking or using drugs or something to put me out of my ego, to disassociate from my ego, then I wanted to keep people away from me. I thought the Heisman Trophy looked like me, because I always had my hand out, stiff-arming people to keep them away, because I thought what was inside me was ugly. and I didn't want people to see what was inside. So I just created an exterior. And the exterior is what people saw. And when they could see that I looked presentable, then I was presentable. But I didn't feel like I fit in wherever I was, regardless. I grew up a fan of the baseball team, the New York Yankees. But if I was in an Oakland bar and they're surrounded by Oakland A's fans, I could act like an Oakland A's fan. And if I was in a bar in San Francisco and I was surrounded by San Francisco Giants fans, I could act like a San Francisco Giants fan. So I was always inauthentic in my presentation to the rest of the world because I was always hiding. And the hiding was based on shame. If you knew me, the real me, you wouldn't like me. So my life revolved around chasing affirmation from outside. Now, the affirmation is not outside, it is within us, because we were all given a spark of life. Before we took a breath outside of our mother's wombs, we had that spark of life. And what I did with that spark of life, instead of letting it shine, I covered it up with defense mechanisms that I learned as a child. These defense mechanisms became survival instincts. I thought I could not live without them. So covering up that light was the dominant factor of my life. And when I found a spiritual path to walk, all of a sudden, the survival mechanisms drifted away. The defense mechanisms deactivated. And I could let that spark of life shine. And not only that, but I could feed that spark. I do this every morning of every day. I take a portion of that morning and I use spiritual affirmations, prayer and meditation. I work on my chakras. I do a lot of breathing exercises. I do different things, tools and techniques that I was willing to be taught because you couldn't tell me very much most of my life because I knew better. But I was willing at this point to have my ears open and to listen to other people who had these tools and technology. They've been taught to human beings for over a millennia. There are cultures that have made this science and technology of spirituality available by their teachings. And we haven't been paying very much attention, at least I didn't. And I would dismiss it. But now I found it invaluable. So that's how I start every morning of every day. And will this feeling last? This feeling of connectedness, of fitting in, of being a part of something greater than myself? It won't last 24 hours for me. Yeah, I will get anxious or agitated at some point. But now I have the confidence based on experience that even just one deep breath can restore me to that sense of calm, that sense of peace that was so elusive to me. And I had told you before, I thought I knew the definition of calm, but I didn't. To me, calm was a state of less anxiety than I usually had. And I thought that was calm. I just wasn't as anxious as I had been. Usually, I was in a constant state of anxiety. This leads to fear. And fear does not bring out the best in us. So I have been able to, even during the day, when I find myself getting agitated by something I've heard or seen or, whatever, we've all experienced things that gets our noses out of joint, so to speak. But what I have developed my awareness to notice my breath gets shorter, my tongue gets sharper, Sometimes I hear my tone of voice, and that triggers the awareness. Sometimes I notice my breathing, and that triggers the awareness. And what does the awareness give me? It gives me the chance to employ one of the tools or techniques that I've learned. And for me, it's breathing. One deep breath. And all of a sudden I remember what it feels like, what serenity, what that word means. And the storms of life can be raging all around me, and I can stand in the center of those storms and feel serene. I can't control the storms. And if you try, you will feel pain and suffering, as I did. And as I do when I forget. Sometimes I say my superpower is forget me. I can forget what I have been taught. I can forget what I have learned. But when my awareness kicks in, I realize I have put my foot off my path. This is not the path I am meant to walk. And since I have found my path, what has that meant to me? It means that to encourage people to find theirs. Theirs may not be mine, and mine may not be theirs, but everyone with that spark of life, if you're no longer covering it up and hiding it based on the low vibration of shame, which will bring you down. If you're vibrating at a higher level that lifts not only yourself up, but people around you up, then your path will be revealed. And you will know it. No one else can tell you that's your path. Then you can be surrounded by wise people who know a great deal. And they can't tell you what your path is. Only you can know. And when you're walking it, those wise people will go, oh, yeah. Whatever it is you're doing, keep doing it. And so that's what I try to do. Keep walking my path. And today, I hold my head high and I look people in the eye. Because I am not ashamed of the path I walk. And if you ridicule me, insult me, these are just vibrations coming at me. And they don't have to interact with me if I let them pass through me. So I do not have to react the way I used to if someone says something that is a put down or has negative vibrations attached to it, or trying to dismiss me or insult my sense of self-worth. I don't get outraged the way I used to. I don't get defensive the way I used to. And I think, well, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe something happened to them and they're taking it out on me. Or I think in some way I try to be more compassionate when I encounter negative energies. But I don't have to take them in. Which is a great mistake that I made over and over and over, to take the negative in and keep the positive out with a stiff arm. Now, I'm not great at this, but I'm better than I was at letting the positive in. And when someone gives me a compliment today, I don't dismiss it as I did in the past. I try to feel it. And if there is an inner resonance within me, I say those to myself. That rings true. And maybe, just maybe, they are accurately portraying me in a positive light. Just maybe. And the more I walk this path, the more I trust this inner resonance to be my guide. If someone compliments me because they're flattering me because they want something, it doesn't resonate. But if someone compliments me because they have been touched, we have established a connection, I let that in. And that's how I think the universe reflects back to me whether or not I put my foot wrong on my path or if I'm walking it. And the universe, I can count on it. It will reflect back to me one way or the other. If I'm not walking my path, I will encounter obstacles. I will encounter problems. I will encounter difficulties. But if I'm walking my path, things are smoother. And not that I don't meet obstacles, but I've turned these obstacles into lessons. What can I learn from them? But the main thing that I want to concentrate on today is your feeling of self-worth. Because it took me out. It took me down. So far down, I didn't think I could ever get back up. But I did get back up. And you can too. It doesn't matter how far down you're going. And now think of it in this way. At least I have tried to. That experience of being that far down, when you do lift yourself up again, that will give you a power and authenticity. When you say you understand how someone feels, they will pick up. That's real. You're not just saying it. You're feeling it because you've been there. And I couldn't do this if I hadn't been there.
You know, James, you've touched on so much. Just in you have, and I have so many questions, but I'm not going to go there because I see Lazaro has his hand up.
Sure.
So I'm going to take his question, and someone else has a question because I see Karen's hand is up because there's so much. You touching on so much stuff here that there's a lot of jewels in this stuff, man, and I have a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions for you. This stuff is awesome. Lazaro, come on.
Hey, how's it going, James?
Hey, Lazaro.
Obviously, got the James fit, the hat, the shirt.
We're trendsetters, Lazaro.
Yeah, this is, it's called dressing proper, dressing dapper and all that. So my question for you, James, is as a recovering addict, whether it be from, alcoholism or whatever else, how do you deal with triggers, right? Like, so for example, when you go out for a social event, people that just don't really understand alcoholism, they're able to have a casual drink, one drink or two or whatever. You see everybody like, having a good time, having a drink. And so my question is like, how do you deal with that trigger, right? Like, because obviously you see other people drinking, you want to join, right?
Yeah.
You want to like look like a normal person. You don't want to be that guy that's all like, oh, I can't drink because, I have a problem or whatever, Right. And then not only that, right? So like, let's say you survive that, you're driving home, you're going home, and then all you see is liquor.
Yes,
Liquor.
yes.
So I'm just asking, like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, great question. The question of triggers comes up all the time. Many people talk about it. Many people have different ways of dealing with it. So I can only speak for myself, first off. And I will say that when I was my freshman year in college, I had surrounded myself with people who used drugs and alcohol like I did. So I thought that it was, normal. But I realized it had taken a severe effect on me. And I hitchhiked my way to Nashville, Tennessee, because it was a music scene. And, I thought I'd escape. Now, in recovery, we call that pulling a geographic. Because no matter where you go, there you are. So I took me with me when I went to this other place. But I dried out, and I was able to think that this was what I needed. And it may very well have been, because sometimes when you're in this, the environment can be stronger than the willpower. And so we recommend that people change their environments when they're early in recovery. For example, I couldn't go to a baseball game when I was early in recovery because I always had a beer at a baseball game. And I didn't even want to eat in a Mexican restaurant because every time I ate at a Mexican restaurant, I had a beer. And for me, this may not be applicable to others, but for me, one beer wasn't enough. One beer always led to a second beer. And after 2 beers, all bets were off. So these triggers, sometimes the environment is so strong, you have to not go into that environment. When you get a little time under your belt, but I really remember going down the main street, there's a liquor sign over here, there's something in the window over there, and you can't avoid it. You turn on the television, especially if you're watching a sports game, almost every other commercial is about alcohol. And I'm choosing to use the word alcohol usage disorder, AUD. Alcohol usage disorder is a medical condition that cannot be cured, but it can be treated. And the treatment for me is a spiritual path. And for others, there are other medical interventions. There was a medical intervention that saved my life. But it's the way I live now that makes my life worth living. But with these triggers, you are not going to be able to avoid them. Consciously, you can make an effort to not put yourself in a situation where you're likely to fail. This is a smart thing to do until you have some time. So just say, I can't go to that baseball game, or whatever it is for you. Whatever leads to a trigger, that squirmy feeling where you think you've got to change the way I feel. And the way I feel has to be changed, not tomorrow, today, right now, this minute. I can't stand the way I feel. I have to change it. And the way I change it was with a beer, with a shot, with something that led to a usage disorder, which is a medically recognized condition. Because when we use the word alcoholic, we think of people in dirty raincoats, drinking something out of a plastic or a paper bag or something. We have this image, and it's a stigma in our society. Alcoholic bad, alcoholic failure, alcoholic moral scum. But it is a medical condition. Not everybody suffers from it, even though they do the same things. They can drink like you drink, but not be an alcoholic, not suffer from the usage disorder that I suffer from. They have a different metabolism. There's something different about their biochemistry. There's something different about them, but it doesn't matter that they can do it. I can't. I have to accept that about myself. I also can't process dairy. So I can't have cow's milk. I can't have cheese that comes from cow's milk, even though it's been processed. And so I have to do without that. So what have I found? I found, hey, sheep's milk's not so bad. I actually like it now. So I don't have to do without so much as I have found what works for me. And I don't have to do what doesn't work for me just because everybody else is. I don't have to make it a big deal either to point it out. And when they try to make it a big deal, push a drink on you or something like that, it's like Bruce Banner would say, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Before he turns into the Incredible Hulk. This is what I say. Nah, you don't like me. You wouldn't like me when I'm drinking. So you don't have to tell them about your life story. Just tell them it's not for me. It's one friend says, I've had enough to drink for 2 lifetimes. And you'll find the words that work for you. Find something and find it before you're in that moment, because in the moment you don't want to be, oh, what should I do? You think of it, this is a tool. This is a technique that you can learn. What is going to be my response when someone pushes a drink towards me? Some people, as you know, probably, they will pressure you to drink. Have a couple of phrases, a couple of sayings that It's authentic, it's an accurate expression, but it's not like a full confession. They don't need to hear that. They just need to know in some way, your words, some way, that it's not for me. Not now, not today. Some people say, not today.
Thank you for that, James. Thank you so much. And on those lines, I got a quick question, but just Karen, I got you. You coming next, and Princessa, I saw your question as well. But I want to ask you this before I get to them. And is chess a trigger for you?
Well, I do not play competitive chess now, and I do not accept an invitation to play chess with someone that I respect as a chess player, because I know that's an environment that brings out the competitor in me, and that competitor within me I have wrestled with, but I'm not over it. You can trigger it again. So I avoid that environment. I do not play in chess tournaments anymore. I used to always play in a chess tournament. We have a magazine that comes out every month, and in the back it has a list of the upcoming tournaments. And that's the first page I would turn to. And I would plan what I was going to do based on which tournaments I was going to compete in. Now, I never look at it, or very rarely.
So the answer is yes.
Restate the question, Clyde. I don't know what
chess a trigger.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I have to stay out of the environment that will trigger me, because I know better. I know what it'll do to me. But I do play online under a handle so that no one knows it's me.
Okay.
And they're playing with handles, so I don't know who they are. And
are you trying to crush them? Are you
what I'm trying to do?
Competitive in your,
Well, I have to be honest with you.
Right.
So, that's what you're counting on, huh? So I want to say that what I'm trying to do, my goal, is to look at interesting positions, because chess is a game of logic, and it's like solving a puzzle. And I love solving puzzles. I always have. I play all sorts of puzzles to pass the time on my phone. Whenever I'm waiting and want to pass some time, I'll be playing puzzles, Sudoku, whatever it is. The idea is that that's how I want to approach chess. So I'm really trying to learn to approach chess that way. But if I'm starting to lose in this game, because sometimes that happens, and man, I am not spiritually inclined at that moment. I'm not showing any compassion for that person. I'm not thinking. So,
Mr. Old James.
As if I have not done all this work.
Right.
Year after year after year, done this work. It's evaporated.
Yes.
So, what do I do? Because I'm playing online, I log off.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, James. Thank you so much, man.
So we want Karen and then Princess.
Yeah, I got Karen. Karen, your hand was up, and then Princess. Karen.
Hi, James.
Hi, Karen.
Everybody needs a little James in their life.
It's so sweet to say that.
So my question, or my observation, I guess you would say, is that what your message on Let Your Voice Be Heard is not so much about chess and the accolades that you received from being a master chess player, but more of the spirituality in recovery. And the message is about recovery, which I totally appreciate. So you've written books and you speak on this forum of Let Your Voice Be Heard. What other forums do you speak so that this message gets out? I know you don't, I believe you said you don't do the AA type of a thing.
Or
But you know, what would the message be, and where would they get that? If they're not, a person didn't read the books or weren't on Let Your Voice Be Heard, which would be shame on them if they're not on Let Your Voice Be Heard. That that are feeling, their self-esteem is low, they're not feeling good about themselves, but they need to hear your message. They need that because they need that support. They need that being grounded. They need the James in their life. Where would they get that, and what would your message to them be?
Thank you so much for that question. It's near and dear to my heart. And I do still go to different recovery programs. I find that although I loved being alone, I tried to be alone as often as I could growing up and into adulthood, I need people around me. And it's really the environment that I look for in these places is people that have gone through what I've gone through and know what I'm talking about when I talk, and to listen to them when they're talking. And so it's very useful. I was asked to speak at a meeting yesterday, and I spoke at a men's meeting, so it's men's only. And, after I'm done telling my story, they asked for a topic, and my topic was shame. What do you do about shame? And you could have heard a pin drop. Nobody wanted to talk about shame. But to get back to your point is, how do I get the message out now? Well, this is how Tony and I met, and because I've been struggling writing books, for example. I do podcasts, for example. So how do I get the message out? I've been on radio shows before. I've been on a local TV station. So I've been trying wherever I can. And Tony called me out of the blue one day and said, and I told him, look, I don't have a marketing bone in my body. And he said, that's what I do. So we're trying to partner and develop some ways that we can be able to reach out more. And, it's like if they don't like what I'm saying, they can turn the dial, so to speak. I don't have captive audiences.
That's right.
But if they like what I'm saying, they can continue to listen. And often I don't know who's getting the message or not. But that's not as important to me as reaching somebody, even if I never know that I have. If I've changed that person's experience by sharing my experience, my strength, and my hope that I have today. And I want to give hope to the hopeless and empower the powerless, because I know what that feels like. And it's a matter of, it's pain and suffering. And we do not have to live like that. And freedom from the tyranny of addiction gives you a higher high than you ever will get ingesting foreign substances. And the joy that I have experienced in sobriety. People said, if I stop drinking, I won't have any more fun. Man, I'm having more fun than ever. And if you want to know where the party is,
Yes,
wherever I am, I'm bringing it with me.
That's right.
And I want you to feel the same way.
Yes.
Wherever you are, that's where the party is.
Yes.
It starts in here, not out there. You won't find what you're looking for out there. You'll find what you're looking for in here. So I'm trying to get the message out the best way I can. But thank you for that question, because I've really been wrestling with it. I have a website, but I was told it was not network ready, I think was the word. So we have a professional now working on a new one, and that should be launched very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Princessa, you want to ask your question? You want me to read your question? You going to ask it?
Yeah, let her. Yeah, I want to hear her say it.
I want to hear her talk.
Oh my God, sorry. Like, You guys already know I'm shy. I had to type it out so I wouldn't forget it because last time I forgot to ask a question.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much, how do you rebuild self-esteem after hitting rock bottom? I have a couple questions, but that's the first question I have.
Okay. Also, this is because when you hit rock bottom, that's what we call it. Everybody, we say, everybody needs to hit rock bottom because that's when you're desperate enough to try something, whatever isn't. I was told by my doctor to go to AA. I have since found other programs that actually work for me a little bit better, but AA is still the best attended and the most popular, so you can find a meeting anywhere. So it's a traditional 12-step program, and it's well established in society. And so the more people will be there if you go, and to find like-minded people, and so that you don't feel so estranged, you don't feel alienated, you feel like you do fit in. This feeling is important when you're trying to rebuild your self-esteem. You don't feel like an alien. You don't feel like I don't belong. You hear some of the stories and your toes will curl. Your story is not so bad. And my story was, but, we don't play, can you top this? Kind of thing. It's like, whatever the bottom, the rock bottom, as you said, whenever you hit that, that's a traumatic experience. Now there's trauma with a capital T, like soldiers coming back from war and their nerves are shot. That's trauma when people can understand that. But this rock bottom hitting, that's traumatic at a different level maybe, but just as harmful to you, to your self-esteem, and to the people around you, people who care about you. All the damage that's been done, you can't overestimate it. You can't overstate it. There's been plenty of it. And then what I have learned, and I learned this later on in recovery, you have post-traumatic stress disorder on top of everything. So PTSD, thank you for piling that one on. But yeah, I have it. So be kind to yourself. Man, this stuff is serious. It's hard to treat. There are people who specialize in treating PTSD. And if you find someone who treats you just for that, that will help. But what we're talking about is the inner voice, the inside. What I'm talking about, I should say, is that I have found that the answers do not lie outside me, although I have to be willing to learn tools and techniques that can help me. But only I can tell if that tool or technique will work for me. Deep breathing worked. So if you find what works for you, keep doing that. I can't tell you to breathe, to do yogic breathing, and to concentrate on the flow of energy in your own body, because that's what worked for me. I now can raise my vibration. If it's a low vibration, fear, shame being a couple of the lowest, I can raise it. I can raise it and put a smile on my face and hold my head high, walking down the street. Even though I'd gone down this little rabbit hole of self-loathing that I've been down a million times, yet I can be aware, hey, that rabbit hole leads to bad outcomes, Jim. You've been there a million times. It's not going to be any different this time. It's going to be the same old story. Hey, why don't I wait and not go down that rabbit hole? And just take a break, a little pause. Whoa. So how do I reframe this? Reframe my thinking. Hey, you know what? The best I could do for a while was, you're not so bad. I'm not so bad. Look in the mirror and say, you're not so bad. That was the best I could do for a while. Mm-hmm. And they tell you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. Well, that works for a lot of people. But for me, I can only say, you're not so bad. So this self-love, do what I say, don't do what I do. I'm not saying I'm great at it yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And the self-esteem for me, it's more or less the awareness that kicks in. And if I take that deep breath, when I'm starting to go down the rabbit hole of self-loathing, which I've been down so often, I can stop, take a deep breath, and remember that I've been given a gift. A gift. And you've been given a gift too. You have the spark of life in you. And so let it shine. However it shines for you, let it shine.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, you're going to see the universe reflected back at you. Wow, isn't that princess nice? Isn't she just really a kind person? You know, she didn't have to do that. That was nice of her to do. You know, and then all of a sudden, then people say that to you instead of cringing. You're going to say, "Yeah, I did do that, and I did it for the right reasons." We talk about selfless service. You're not doing it so people will say, wow, princess is cool. No, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And if you can't help somebody, why wouldn't you?
Right. Thank you for that, James. Thank you so much. What else?
I appreciate that, and thank you. And it would be a little bit about being cool. Just so you know, I'm kidding.
Oh,
But I will say about the meditation part. I've tried meditating, and I had like an issue with like the bad thoughts. Like, you know how there's like the good angel and then the little devil like on your shoulders.
Yeah.
That little devil usually like beats that little angel every single time, and I'm just like, I'm always trying to think of like the good things in life. Like, some things I say is like, is it a bad 5 minutes? Is it a bad day? Is it a bad month? Instead of like letting it affect like my whole life. But since I have like 3 different disorders, like CPTSD, bipolar, BPD, it really does affect me a lot, and it keeps making me like go back to making my bad decisions. And it's like, it's very hard for me to keep those positive thoughts, even if I'm meditating. I don't. Do you have any like tips for that?
Sure. And again, I'm only going to tell you what works for me. And I used to call it, the bad devil. I used to call them shadow whisperers because they would whisper in my ear, and they were things that would lead me to bad decision making, as you said, harming myself. And not just myself, but everyone around me. And I know that these are bad decisions, and I know that these whisperers cannot be trusted. So I know them now, and actually I know if I shine the light on them, and not if I flip the switch on the wall, the light inside me, I see them for little tiny ugly things that run away when the light shines. They have no power over me. And that one day I suddenly magically know it was work. Day after day after day, when the shadow whispers started, I would have to remind myself that I had the power to banish them. And it turns out I did have that power. And I suspect you do too. Because these shadow whispers are really tiny. That's why they're just right in your ear. And when they shine the light on them, they are ugly. Miserable little things that want you to be miserable too. And they scurry away as fast as they can. That's why I call them shadows. They don't like the light. So build the light within. Let it shine. Let it out. You're worth it. And your self-worth will be appreciated by others. You may raise their sense of self, their self-worth, just by being a shining example to them of someone who has all this stuff going on, yet she has a smile on her face. And she's just a little bit cool.
Thank you so much, man. Hey, listen. Thank you so much, James, for that. I see Veronica has her hand up. But Princessa, you'll be getting our therapy bill in the mail.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
James is awesome. Come on, Veronica.
Hey, so I've been reading your book and I've been reading Freedom. And so I've just come to the conclusion, whoever bought the book, it's one thing to buy the book, read the book. So I keep coming back to the same thing. And of course, it's the very beginning of the book. And, you say, and you just touched on it too, how you don't really believe in AA, or it doesn't work for you. So I've never heard of Recovery Refuge or Dharma, whatever. I've never heard of those things. Can you tell me what they are?
Yeah. Great question. And I don't want to disparage AA. It works for millions of people and it's worked for many, many years. But one reviewer pointed out that I had a biting edge when I talked about it. And that was just, he was right. And I realized, I learned after that, that was in 2023, that I had some resentments. And I had to work on them, because resentments will take you out. And I'd let them fester. And so now, because that was the first thing the doctor told me to try that. And, and it wasn't totally my cup of tea. And they told me that it was because I was, this or that, and it was I was the problem. And I still have the same things that don't sit well with me. Like there's a chapter to wives, as if only husbands are alcoholics and wives are people who suffer with alcoholic husbands. So it's written, decades and decades ago, and it was at a different time and different attitudes. And so I had to look at it from that perspective and give them a pass, So I still attend AA meetings, but it's for the people. It's for the people I see there. And it's to be supportive of them. And doggone it, I find out I get support from them. Who'd have thought? I'm open to it. But the ones that I mentioned were Refuge Recovery. When we had the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, you couldn't meet in person anymore. So I went online and I discovered a couple of Buddhist-based programs, Refuge Recovery and Recovery Dharma. And these are recovery programs, every bit as much as the traditional 12-step programs are. But they come from a Buddhist perspective. And the Buddhist perspective is quite attractive. It's very nice. It's very kind, very compassionate. And I can be loving and kind, to my surprise, if I practice. And these people often had tried traditional 12-step programs. So we had a little more in common. We just didn't have a background struggling with addiction, but we had a background of finding that the 12-step program didn't hit all the buttons that needed to be hit for us. And this Buddhist-based programs did. And now I'm actually a teacher's assistant for yoga in the 12 steps. There's a spiritual community called Ananda. Ananda is Ananda. It's named after a yogi who wrote the autobiography of a yogi. And I read that and I got really very moved and interested. And so I found out there's this organization that carries on with his teachings. And so now there's a yoga in the 12 steps. So it takes the 12 steps and it looks at it from a yogic perspective, from an ancient yogic perspective. So these tools and techniques of being calm and how to be calm and serene, even in the center of life's storms, these have been taught for ages. Not here in the Western worlds where we're competitive and want to gain material gains and do those types of things. But this is another perspective. And that was really eye-opening to me. And there's also another program that I attend periodically, adult children of alcoholics. And it doesn't mean that your parents are alcoholics. It just means that your family was dysfunctional. And, without blaming anyone, you can say, a lot of families are dysfunctional. And it's nobody's fault. There's no point in blaming somebody for this. It's just we don't know any better. We don't know how. Some people magically seem to have the answer, but there's no manual that explains it. At least that I know of. And so a lot of families just don't function well. The children don't get the support that they need. They're pigeonholed as problems or this or that or what have you. And these days they're medicated often as children. I know I would have been if I had grown up at a later time. Lots of people find that working on, and this is how I know so much about my childhood, is because you look at your childhood experiences without blaming anyone, but you look at them from a neutral perspective. And you look at it, this actually happened to me, and accept it. Don't hide it away because it's scary and uncomfortable. Growth involves discomfort. Remember, rapid growth causes pain in your bones, So it's like, this is a sign. If you're getting a little uncomfortable, this is really close to the bone here, ouch. That's a sign that you're on the cusp of growing. So double down. So I cannot tell you what will fit best for you, but I can tell you that there are options out there. And this is my training, kind of a scientific training, is like trial and error and test. Go experience it and be open to it. Though, if you go there with I don't think you're going to tell me anything. It's going to work for me. It's not going to work. But if you're open to it, you're willing to try it.
Right.
Keep trying it. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Don't give up.
Right.
Thomas Edison said, the surest sign of failure is to not try again. You can fail because you didn't try again to succeed.
That's right. And we're gonna try again. We're gonna try again. We're gonna try you again, James, because I see you. I'm not a fortune teller, but I see you in my near future. I know you'll be back, my brother. Because
James shows always run over the hour because he's just that interesting,
Oh, yes, indeed, you are.
Yeah, I'm not conscious of the time. I'm sorry.
Family, and I see, for the sake of time, I see Tony with his hand up. So come on, Tony.
You always have to take the spotlight.
The boss.
That's resentment.
Come on, Tony. Come on, Tony. You gotta unmute. You gotta unmute.
No, he's thinking. He's thinking.
You still muted.
Hey, we don't have time for him thinking.
You still muted. Listen, you the boss. You gotta find some high tech stuff. You gotta have somebody to put that high tech stuff up. There you go.
Someone help him out.
Still muted. You still muted.
He needs help.
He need help. Where the IT guys at?
Tony, he's in outer space. Just give him some time.
Yeah, that's
true. On his astronaut helmet.
He's got a different atmosphere.
Okay, there he is.
Some time. You'll figure it out. Tony!
Come on, Tony.
There you go.
Johnny, come in.
You sideways.
Johnny, come soon.
Okay, there we are. There we go.
Oh, no, sideways.
Come on, man. You got it. You got it. You got it, baby.
Technology, man.
Yeah.
Tony's got it, bro.
Right.
I'm glad James got everybody. I'm glad James got everybody happy and laughing. But after meeting like that, you gotta look at your damn self. You gotta laughing. You hope the meeting hurry up and end so you can go and get off, because James be touching places that you don't want to go, and he takes you there. And that's why I love him so much. And James is going to be in town. For those that are in Florida, he's going to be in town around the 26th. And if you want to come buy books from him, I mean, like Veronica said, don't just buy those books, read them, because they're an extension of him. You got him right now, but his blood, sweat, and tears went into those books. And, I look at it like this. One day you might be struggling, might want to go do something stupid. and just that book could save you. You need to surround yourself with, as Karen say, a little bit more James. You know, a little bit more James.
A little bit of James.
And
that's right.
I'm not
We all
going to
have that light inside us.
Amen. And you're right. And that was a beautiful thing you said. We got that light to, I think you said it to Princessa. But that's what's real. And Princessa, I'm proud of you, you know, because you don't talk for nobody. And James seems to have, there you go. James seems to have brought it out, and I love it. So we're not going to announce it yet.
We need a little bit more James.
I'm not going to announce it today, but I'm not going to announce it today, but me and James got some big things we got in the oven. So, you know, I found a love for him, and hey, man, I can't stop. I love James. That's my brother. Like you know, like Floyd is my brother. James is my brother, and we form a hell of a team.
So am I.
And I'm going to tell you guys, everybody on this phone is family, and we all.
Tony's wearing a hat, Lazaro.
Huh? Yours. I had to.
I'm gonna get Tony a hat. I'm gonna get Tony a James hat. And next time he's gonna come on, he's gonna wear that hat.
I would wear it proud. I would wear it proud.
Oh, that's it. The marketing experience. It's merchandising.
I'm gonna get it from James. I don't want your fake hat.
I got one. Y'all ain't gonna wear them without me.
I don't want your fake hat. I'm gonna get one of James. One that James wore on the show. So I'll have the authentic James look.
We're gonna put it in a museum.
Hey, listen, you guys. Listen, you guys. Tony, we thank you, man. We love you, bro. We love you for what you do, man. You make this happen.
Thank you.
We thank you, and we love you, man. I love everybody on the panel. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. James, you are our brother. You are our brother, man. You're a family.
Thank you.
And we will have a little more of James.
I got one more thing, Jim. One thing.
Go right ahead.
We're going to when the song plays, let your voice be heard. Everybody's supposed to be jamming.
Oh, okay.
Everybody, because you know what we're making right now? We're making a sizzle reel with every host that's been on here dancing.
You know me, I'm too shy to dance.
That's all right.
Nah, come on, James, cut the going.
Nod your head.
But James, you say you're shy. You're the one that inspires everybody. You know.
Thank you, Lisa. No,
you gotta be
being ironic.
Hey, remember
the light and the darkness. You know what I'm saying?
Remember this. This your boy now.
There it is.
Step in. Lean in. My God. Begin.
Hey, look at Lazaro. Hey. Where the party at?
Turn down songs, clock keeps ticking on the wall.
Hey, Karen, I see you grooving over there.
Name still missing the call. Let your
That's the kind of party we like, a sober party.
From the low notes to the sky.
Princessa. Hey. Princessa's gone.
Undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you.
Look at my bird.
You got a truth tucked deep in your chest. Heartbeat tapping out, say it, confess. Crowd might stare, let them do what they do. They never held a fire living in you.
This is the kind of Friday night I like.
Voice be heard, say every single word.
James, cut the road, James. I see.
Let your voice be heard loud, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you. Speak up, name your dream out loud. Stand up, you're the leader of this crowd. One spark, one shout, watch the silence.
Leader of this guy. Look at this, this is crazy. We all partying on the Friday.
Where's the party at?
Let your voice be heard. Say every
That's a beautiful thing.
Party's wherever we are.
Friday night,
let your voice be heard.
my kind of party.
Undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you.
Look at the bird. Look at the bird dance.
That's you.
Hey.
Step in.
party.
Never again.
I love you guys.
This your boy now.